Six of the fantasy baseball season, and he has a few hitters I would look to sell high and trade away this week. The first guy is Jesse Winker of the Cincinnati Reds. Jesse Winker, what a breakout season it's been for him so far. 40 of 107 from the plate, 7 home runs, 19 RBIs, 24 runs scored, an amazing 374 batting average, and a 432 on base percentage. So right now, Winker, he's hitting way over his head, in my opinion, with this Cincinnati ball club. Obviously, he's going to be an everyday player, and he's been batting second in the Cincinnati Red offense. But right now, that batting average is out of control, in my opinion, is Winker. And to get into more stats, in the last week, he's hitting 474 in 19 at-bats and a 524 on-base percentage. So right now, he's reaching base at a great rate. The power numbers, they're pretty solid, where he's on pace for about 32 home runs when the season's done here. So right now, it's pretty good to see Winker getting things going, but I don't think it's going to last. And right now, if I could get a good pitcher for him, or even another bat that's been off to a slow start in a deal, this is the time to do it while his value's at an all-time high. May 7th at Cleveland, 1 for 4 with a run. May 8th at Cleveland, 1 for 3. May 10th at Pittsburgh, 2 for 4 with 2 runs scored. And yesterday at Pittsburgh, 3 for 4 with a homer and 2 RBI. So right now, he's just going out there. He's hitting the ball well. But I think if a right deal's out there, you definitely sell him high. The next play is Giancarlo Stanton of the New York Yankees. So the first 2 or 3 weeks of the season, people, they were getting frustrated with Stanton. He was just not doing much for fantasy owners. And obviously, this New York Yankee ball club, and the only thing with him now, he don't play the outfield at all. Even in National League ballparks, I don't think he's really going to play the outfield much. So on the season, 36 of 123, 9 home runs, 24 RBIs, 16 runs scored, 293 batting average, which is real good to see, and a 360 on base. So the on base percentage is always legit here for Stanton throughout his career, because no doubt about it, he's still a threat. He's still a guy that could put the ball over the fence. And right now, he's top 5 in home runs already in the major leagues. But the only knock on him is staying healthy and staying on the field. But hopefully for the Yankees' sake of things and fantasy owners, he does stay on the field. Obviously, as a DH here, and it keeps him healthy this season. But right now, I just can't believe in Stanton staying healthy the whole season. His track record, obviously, is very bad with him going on the injured list. And it won't surprise me to see him soon go on the injured list in the next few weeks here. And every season, it's at least 2 or 3 stints or an extended period of time that he's out. So the last few games here for Stanton, May 7th versus Washington, 0 for 4. May 8th, 0 for 4. May 9th, 1 for 3 with an RBI. And May 11th at Tampa, 1 for 3. So Stanton, he hasn't hit a home run since May 6th versus the Houston Astros. And this Yankee team, they're in a tough series now at the Tampa Bay Rays, but it's definitely a good hitter's ballpark. And then they go to Camden Yards at Baltimore here. But Stanton, I just don't think he's going to stay healthy. And right now, while his value is way up there, this is a perfect time to trade him off. Next play is Isaiah Kina Falfa of the Texas Rangers. So he's been playing real good this season, and especially with him qualifying at catcher, third, and short, this guy, he's definitely a big player for fantasy owners. And so far in the season, 43 of 152, 5 home runs, 17 RBIs, 7 stolen bases, 25 runs scored, 283 batting average, and a 329 on base. So right here, he's really hitting the ball. He's getting a lot of hits. And in the last week, he's 9 of 26 with a 346 batting average. But right here, his fantasy value definitely gets a boost up that he qualifies a catcher. And obviously, he's a guy not playing catcher for this Texas Ranger team, but playing in the infield and playing every day already with 152 at-bats of the last few games here for Kiner Falfa. May 7th versus Seattle, 1 for 4 with a run. May 8th versus Seattle, 2 for 4 with 3 RBIs. May 9th versus Seattle, 3 for 5 with 3 runs. May 10th at the Giants, 0 for 4. And then yesterday at the Giants, 1 for 3 with a run and a stolen base. So he contributes in a lot of different ways here for fantasy owners, is Kiner Falfa. And he's definitely getting the job done. But right now, with that catcher eligibility and him on a hot streak hitting the baseball, this is a definite time to sell him high, because obviously he don't have much of a track record in his young career. Last season, he did play most of the season, 211 at-bats. He did bat 280 with 3 homers and 10 RBIs, so not a bad season for him last year. But right now, you don't know what he's going to do in a 162-game season. So if a right deal's out there for a more of a proven player or a guy you just want bad, I think this is the time to do it. And his value is definitely bumped up with the catcher eligibility. The next play is Buster Posey of the San Francisco Giants. So Posey, he's been on a tear this season after sitting out last season and not having really a great season since 2016-2017 year. So on the season, Posey 30 of 78, 8 home runs, 12 RBIs, 19 runs scored, an amazing 385 batting average, and a 461 on base. But right now, I just don't think it's sustainable for Posey. And the other thing with him, obviously, he's only going to play 4 or 5 times a week if he's going to play some catcher and first base. But with Brandon Belt there, you're not going to see Posey play much first base, I believe, this season. It's good to see him have a bounce back year this year, especially sitting out last season. He opted out of the season. But anyway, I just don't believe that Posey's going to continue at this torrid pace, hitting the cover off the baseball and playing real well. So the last few games for him, May 4th at the Rockies, 3 for 4 with 3 runs, a homer, and an RBI. May 5th at the Rockies, 2 for 3 in that one. May 7th, 1 for 2 with a homer, 2 RBIs, and 2 runs. May 8th, he sat out. May 9th versus San Diego, 1 for 2. Versus Texas, May 10th, 0 for 3. And he sat out in yesterday's game versus Texas. So this is what I mean. 2 out of the last 4 games he sat out as Posey. And just with his age, all the miles on his body, I just can't see him keeping up this 300-plus batting average for Posey. And plus that he's a catcher, his value's pretty good right now, where you could get a decent return for him. And the 5th and final hitter I look to sell high and trade away is Chris Taylor of the Los Angeles Dodgers. So Chris Taylor, super utility man, obviously, for this Dodger team, and a player playing real well this season. He qualifies at second short and outfield in fantasy baseball, and on the season, 32 of 109, 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, 5 stolen bases, 29 runs, a 294 batting average, and an amazing 425 on base percentage. So this guy this season, he's pretty much getting on base almost half the time he's been up, which is very good, no doubt about it. But I don't think the stats are going to stay up there for him. Last season, it was a pretty decent year for him as well, batting 270. And the stolen bases, I think it's a little fluky right now for Taylor. But obviously, he's on a loaded Los Angeles Dodger team where not many pitchers are going to pay attention to Taylor, where he's going to see good pitches. But right now, with his versatility and his real hot start he's off to this season, I think he's a guy you definitely could sell off high and get a good starting pitcher or maybe another type of bat if you want to go that direction. But the last few games here for Taylor, May 7th at the Angels, 2 for 4. May 8th at the Angels, 1 for 4 with 2 runs and a stolen base. May 9th at the Angels, 1 for 2 with an RBI. And May 11th, 3 for 4 with 2 runs and a stolen base. So right now, he's hitting the baseball well. He's stealing bases for this Dodger team and fantasy owners. But right now, I just don't think it's going to be sustainable. And he's also another guy with an injury track record throughout his career. So that's a few hitters I would look to sell high and trade away here in Week 6 of the fantasy baseball season.